Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Spellbinders and the Amazing Paper Grace kit for November, and this is the die kit. So, kind of gonna do this somewhat live, just to save time. Was away for the week, even though I still had all those videos up. Now I've got to get myself back in on a schedule. So, just to save time, I'm not going to do any editing. And I know a lot of you have expressed that you like that. Okay, so enough of my yammering. So here is the die. Now it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. So you can see you have your solid shape there, and then you can add this into it, which will give you the cutout of this design. And then you have this here, which will give you another solid shape. Hexagon, that's the name I was thinking about here. I believe it's a hexagon. Wow, that brought me back to school days. Okay, so you'll have a solid piece, and then you'll have this separate piece where it gives you this design here that's cut out. So that can sit right in there. And then you have this piece. So you have the cutout for this. So if you just set this in this piece here that's cut out, like this here, this is the center that comes with that. Sorry, it's a mirror piece. And if I just set this in there, I'm going to get this image to cut that out. What's great about this image, it reminds me of a snowflake. A little bit, little bit, little bit. But if I put this on here and then set this die on top of that, I'm going to get this cut out and it'll resemble something like this. Okay, so the dies are extremely, extremely versatile. You can get so many different looks. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 cards today. I'm going to create one card using all of these beautiful dies as I put them back on my piece of magnetic sheet. So I'm going to create one using all of the dies and creating all of the awesome different layers, sorry about that, and depth that you can get from the Amazing Paper Grace dies. And then I'm going to do one that's just using this focal center point, so you can get 2 very, very different looks. Now, one of the other things that I love about the Amazing Paper Grace dies is the fact of their size. I do love larger cards. Now that does create problems because you've got to create your card base. So what I did here, I've cut this square here to be 6 inches by 6.5 inches. That's this panel here. This panel here is cut 6 inches to 7 inches. So 6 inches by 7. This one here again is 6 inches by 6.5. So this one's my front. And what I did with this one is I scored it at the 1/2 inch mark, and I added some double-sided tape. So I'm going to remove the release paper, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to line it up against that fold, making sure it's even. And now I have my card base. Okay, now you can use it either way. You can either, you know, show this side or you can show this side, whichever you want to show more. Now I'm just going to make sure that this is straight because of course I went crooked. Imagine that. But that's okay. Not a big deal. Okay, so that's our card base for what I'll call the traditional card that we're using all of the dies. And then of course I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a standard A2 size card base. And of course, I do tend to lean towards the top fold. All right, so those are our card bases set. So to save time, I did die cut all of my pieces first. So I have this gold mirror cardstock. You can see I used the outline like I did here, and I inset the filigree, at least that's what I'll call it, that panel, which is right here. So I insert that, but I didn't put all of the other ones in there. I was okay. I kind of wanted that to be solid. And the reason being is because I'm going to add my double-sided foam squares to this area. I wanted to be able to raise this. Now, there is a lot of detail in this outer portion here, which is fine. I'm just not going to prop that up. So it won't have too much support. But usually with this size of a card, honestly, this is a card that I usually attach to a gift that I'm hand delivering. Doesn't mean you can't make an envelope that fits this card. Absolutely, you can. I've actually shown a couple ways to do that in prior videos. But for something like this, usually I tend, when I work with the amazing Paper Greats dies, you know, flowers come into it, and ribbons and pearls and all of that stuff. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this right on top of my gold panel, keeping my fingers crossed that I've got it straight. And not too bad. I'm not too off. I'm off a little bit, but that's okay. So you can see I have that dimension, and because it's coming up off of the mirror, you do get that dimension as well. Now, to fix where I'm off, excuse me, I'm going to trim this. And I'm just going to cut right along the edge of my green cardstock. And there you go. That just fixed it. So awesome. So again, a lot of times it's just taking a pair of scissors and trimming, and that always fixes it. Okay, so we have that. So now what I want to do is I want to add this piece, and that's going to sit right there. So it'll have a nice border, but I do kind of want this raised, but I want this is very thin. I would go crazy putting foam squares on that. I'm going to be honest with you. So what I've done is I've grabbed some of my green cardstock, and I'm going to put these strips down. I'm just going to set these in place. So I'm going to grab my liquid glue. And I am just going to put dots in between. I am not going to be super duper concerned here. What a word, super duper. Just overly concerned of these strips. The only thing that I'm going to truly be concerned with is that they are not peeking out of the sides, because now you'll see what I mean. So, all right, I'm just going to make these just a tad bit thinner because I'm coming right up close to it, and I just want this to be easier. Because we can make all beautiful things, but let's not stress over it. What do you think? Right? Right. Just saying. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to put dots right in the center. And then I'm going to lay this strip down. Again, just making sure that I'm not crossing over. Those big scissors, I'm not able to cut too well with those, so I'm going to use my small ones. Snip! And I'm going to do this going around. So you can see that I'm, taking a shortcut because it's what I do. But again, I really did want the green to show through. Now, by all means, I could have cut down all of my foam squares to fit in these sections, but I'm going to be honest with you, that would have literally driven me crazy. This way I can just set these in place. I know the green is going to stay there, and it's going to be easier for me to prop this up. Now the only thing I need to make sure is, for some reason, I've got to really press this down. Okay, back to trimming. Maybe I'm not putting enough glue down. That's probably it. All right, I'm gonna trim that. And again, you don't have to, you know, I'm literally just eyeballing this and hoping I'm cutting it correctly. Which is okay. You can certainly do that. And if it doesn't, you know, again, I'm using my scraps so that I can cover this. And then I'm just coming in with, gonna come in with this last piece. I'm gonna press that down. Okay, I've got glue coming through, that's fine. And now I'm gonna trim. There we go. Okay, so now I have that where the green is still going to show through, which is what I want, but I wanted this raised up. Here's the wonderful thing. Now I can come in and just cut this size of my double-sided foam squares. So now I can just take one of these, put that there. Again, just making sure that the pieces that I've cut are going to be within the size of my strip. Some of these, of course, I've cut wrong because that's what I do, but that's okay. And now we'll cut this one. So we can remove the release papers here. And then we'll get this set in place as well. Now, I am going to make sure that there's an error when I die cut. You see that little tiny lip that's kind of, you know, we've got a rounded corner there, but I've got a flat edge there. I was okay with that. I just need to make sure that that is now going to sit, I want that to sit up top. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this down. So now I have that raised. So I'm getting some great dimension going on to this card. I don't know if I'm capturing that for you. Of course, you're seeing the double-sided foam squares. But what I'm going to do now is take this red piece and I'm going to set that down inside. And I want to make sure that's glued. So we're just going to add some glue to that. And I just want to make sure that it's centered, that it's not, you know, off-centered, so to speak. All right. So now we've got that in there. So now we have all of these. It's a nice color, traditional color card. And, you know, again, it can be you know, any type of card that you want. It doesn't have to be a Christmas themed card. I just chose the Christmas themed card because that's kind of, you know, what I saw when I put this together. Now, as I'm gluing these together, I'm only putting a dot of glue in the center. By doing that, these papers will curl on their own. So you get this other level of dimension that's going to come through the card or through this focal item, because I did this one in white. And then just the last one. And I'm going to pinch that. So this is actually going to sit right in the center. And for this one, I will use glue all around the outside to make sure that this is adhered well to this. So I'll just put some dots going in different areas. The beauty of glue, of at least this glue that I'm using, it dries clear. Just saying. Just saying. And I'm going to try to get this centered as well. Now I am going to pull out, excuse me, an acrylic block. So I want that to dry just a little bit. All right, so let me clean that out. Let me move this just a little bit. So while that dries, I'm going to grab some of my ribbon that I have in my stash. I have lots of this organza ribbon. Huge fan of it. It's by Paper Mart. And they have so many colors and different sizes. It's really, really nice. I'm going to use an ivory or a cream. And my green. Yes, I was getting that if you didn't hear that. And I'm going to double all of these up. Not quite sure how much I will need, but we shall see. And I am going to tie that bow. I'm going to pull this through because I want all of that. And that side's actually even. I'm going to snip, snip. And we are going to take this and I'm going to put that right up at the top. And I'm going to use a glue dot for that. Let's see, yes. I'm going to be right back, everyone. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I heard my husband coming back, and he usually, when he comes home, just boom, writes in with the voice. So it would have been interesting. But anything's possible, so that can happen at any moment. So I am going to put that bow there. And I'm just going to separate these out just a little bit. Just to fluff those up. And that's our base. Now, what would really be cool is you could just cut another base like we did with the mirror, and you could have your card be that shape as well. Now, it would be on the point, so it would always go on the side, but that's, you know, again, just the ribbon would be sitting like this. So that would be pretty different, very unique. So again, just other ways to see how you can put your card together. This here, I am going to set that right in the center. Again, something of this size, I do like to have a big base for it. Now you guys got me all thinking on that bow there. So now I'm just going to set this, and I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to grab up underneath that mirror. Okay, and then I want to grab, just to accent this, just one little tiny pearl. You could add so much more to this, but I just want to have that one little pearl, but it would be pretty with pearls going all around it. But I really like this. Now, again, I just chose to use Christmas colors. So it kind of gives it that Christmas theme. So this could be used for the holidays, and then you could just simply write your note or provide, you know, put a stamp in there, a holiday stamp, and then your card is ready to go. So something very simple, just pulling up the layers. But I think it gives a beautiful effect for that. So the other card, now remember, when I first saw this, the first thing I thought of was a snowflake. 6 points, it just looked really pretty. That was the first thing that I thought of. So what I did was I actually dug into some old papers that I have, you know, from inking and dyeing and all of that stuff. And I found this. There was obviously some type of ocean thing that I was actually creating. And I cut out 3 of those, I'm going to call them snowflakes because that's what they seem to me. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my white pigment ink. And I am a fan of the Desiree K's. And I'm just going to go around the edges. I don't want to lose all of the beautiful blue that I have on these, but I do want their edges just to be a little bit lighter than what they are now. Now, I believe the 3 colors, if I'm looking at this right, these are my Distress Oxides. And I believe this is Broken China, some Shaded Lilac, and Faded Jeans, if anybody wanted to know those colors. So I'm going to come in a second time. Just helps to give another layer. And then what I'm going to do is I have a piece of dark blue cardstock, and the cardstock that I am using, I don't know why I put my lid on that, so I'm just going to set those there. The cardstock that I'm using is by Stampin' Up. This is Night of Navy. I am a fan of the Stampin' Up cardstock. I mean, I like all cardstock, but I truly am. I do like the way the Stampin' Up feels, and I do like their color choices. So now I'm going to come in along the edge. This is something, it's really weird. This is something that I do every holiday season. I've already done this with one card that I posted, but it is just something that I don't stop. I do like the traditional colors of the holidays, but I really do like the blue and the white, light blue, you know, just getting into all of those colors. To me, this just really looks like a window pane with the frost coming in on the side. So it's almost like, you know, I used to always look out the window when it would snow. Now I cringe. Just to see what it was doing, and I would always look out this one window pane. So, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to take these, and I'm just going to place them on my card. I do want them to go off the edge. And I'm going to place them like that. And again, I'm going to just put glue in the center for right now. I do like the dimension and what that gives us when we do that. I've just got to make sure that it sticks. Now again, it will dry clear, never fear. All right, now I'm going to come in with my scissors and I'm going to trim. And I'm going to trim at each spot where what I'm referring to as a snowflake is coming off the edge of my cardstock. Okay. I'm now going to take this. Now this panel is cut to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so this will cover the entire base, my card base, completely. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue again. So we're going to add a pearl. And as a matter of fact, I think we're going to add lots of pearls. So we're just going to dump those out. So I'm going to put the large ones in the center. And then I'm going to take these little ones, and we're going to put those throughout, but we're going to mix it up. And now I'll come in with the next size. Okay. So we have those, and of course I'm going to come in later with my, triangle, because that's what helps me get them in there. Yes, don't judge. I do things backwards many times. And now I'm going to come in with a white gel pen. And I'm going to add, oh my goodness. I don't think my gel pen's working. Oh no! Okay, do I have a spare? Oh, now that's horrible. Let's see. Yay. Okay, there we go. And again, just adding some little dots, whether it's a starry sky or a snowy blizzard, however you want to look at it. So just little tiny dots. And it just helps to accent that piece. So again, just another way to use one of the components of the amazing Paper Grace die of the month, and this is for November. So 2 completely different looks, and again, 1 die. It's a way to, when you subscribe to these clubs, to see that you can use them in so many different ways. I do hope you enjoyed this project. If you are interested in this Die of the Month kit, all the links will be down below in the video description, along with the links to their blog, their inspiration gallery for Spellbinders. They have some wonderful, wonderful inspiration for their products. Any questions or comments that you have, please leave those down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope everyone's having a great day. I want to thank you so much for stopping by, just spending this little bit of time with me today. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, be part of my group. Make sure you ring the bell because then you know when the next video will go live. Again, enjoy your day, but always remember what's most important. Always be creative.